I'm really not good at talking, and I just haven't been good at saying anything or just speaking up ever. And I got a lot of thoughts on things. And I feel like I'm going crazy because if somebody came up to me and told me that they needed something, I'm not going to think that they're lying or doubt them or think, what's it going to take from me before I'll give to them? What if I need it later on? If somebody was if somebody told me that they were hungry and I didn't have a lot and I didn't even know you and I feel like you're still better off than me or anything, even if you just come up to me and say you need something, I'd like to think that I would help someone out. Let me talk about things that have directly impacted me that I feel like I have a foot to stand on in talking about. Okay, I was a very broke little kid. My family was separated. I lived with my mom for a while, and everything was really tough. I had a lot of siblings, and we lived in a not good area. We lived in a little shed from when I was before I even went to school, and up until the middle of second grade. I lived right next to a really busy highway in a shed that had no bathroom. It had no kitchen. I don't think it had lights or anything. It had one plug-in, and we had a really old little big box TV in there, and the only thing that we had was the caveman version of that SpongeBob episode and a mattress. We had a futon. I hate futons. They're so rough and heavy, and I don't know why somebody would ever waste money getting one because they're miserable. But we dealt with it, and it really wasn't easy. What's keeping somebody from wanting the best for somebody else, for another person? Why is it so easy to defend someone because of what might have happened? It's been bothering me for a long time, and I don't search out everything and just what comes to me, and what doesn't, or that I might not know of, I'm not going to seek out because I can't handle hearing about it. I'm a very emotional person, and it's been like that for a while. But being that broke little kid, let me just go off. There should never be a time when a little kid, when somebody who can't do anything for themselves, that can't get a job, they can't go ask for money, they can't go inside a store and say, hey, I need this. They probably don't even know. Because whenever it was really hard and when it was cold and the power was out and everything, you ate going to bed early for dinner. So whenever you go to a school and they fire lunch ladies for giving people free food, or they have something and you're not allowed to bring in food from the outside and you're not allowed to share or get extras of anything, that's crazy. Because I'm gonna just bring up something else. It didn't really get easier. It kind of got worse as I got older. We moved towns a lot. We moved houses a lot. Uh, the weather tore down the roof in one of our houses, so we had to go live with family. And there was 6 dogs, and there was me, my sister, my dad, my grandma, her husband, her son, her brother-in-law, and sometimes 2 other people living in the same 3-bedroom house. And we would sleep on the floor. We'd sleep on the concrete in front of a fireplace. And during that time, I was in 4th or 5th grade. They'd bring in after school snacks. It'd be a bag of animal crackers and a juice box. And most of the kids didn't like it. They thought it was nasty, but I was so appreciative. I was so happy whenever they brought in animal crackers and they left it over. Nobody would take theirs, so they would leave them on their desk, and the teacher would just scoop them up and put them in a cardboard box on top of the computer stand. And I didn't want to bother anybody, so I just waited, and I packed up all my things out of class really slowly. I made sure that I was the last one there. I untied and retied my shoe as many times as it took for most of the people to leave the room before I would go over to the computer stand and fill my backpack up with snacks so that I would have something when I got to the house. I didn't notice that somebody seen me doing that. The teacher had left by that time, and she started to see me be the last one every few days in the classroom. And I don't know if it was her who said anything or if somebody else mentioned it or noticed, but another teacher aide came up to me and she let us go into a storage room where they keep all those clear plastic bags of food. And she let me go through and pick out a lot of stuff, and she wouldn't let me tell her no about taking something. If there was an extra thing of mac and cheese, she'd try to shove it in the backpack. She'd give me extra Walmart bags of everything. And I didn't think that she was a very nice lady before that. She's kind of rude, and she's just average, burly, Midwestern woman who just is, like, kind of short. and kind of crazy, but it's just one of the times I just remember somebody who really didn't need to. She had no business. She didn't know us. I don't really remember her name. It might have started with a G, it might have started with an R, and I don't really remember her. And she doesn't really know me or my sister or any of my siblings that went to that school. But she went out of her way to help us out because she noticed, and it really matters, and it sucks. Later on in school, when I started to have to pay for everything, I had to go to the school and enroll myself. As soon as I probably didn't even have a license when I had to drive up to the school and enroll myself. I didn't know any of the information. Nobody would give it to me. I didn't have any of the work history or any of that to apply for high school bullcrap. So I didn't get any aid going anywhere, and the most I could do was community college. But before that, I went to the lunchroom a handful of times in my freshman year, and we came out with a bill of $70, and that was a really big amount of money because we were going off of nothing. We were living off of disability because the person who was taking care of us had their shoulder dislocated and their back messed up. So there was no one working. And by the time that we were able to start working and getting jobs, we'd go mowing and everything, but nobody would hire two little hick country girls to go mow their lawn. And whenever we would try to, the mower that we had to get permission to use. So we couldn't go out and make money. We couldn't ask for anything. And everything that we got taken away. So what is the argument about whether or not somebody deserves this little snack? Because you go and you'll pay for somebody to go to jail and sit in there and cost thousands of dollars to feed and home them. But as soon as the kid comes up to you and says, hey, you want to buy some candy bars? Otherwise, I can't pay my school bill. Because I spent the rest of my time, I didn't go to lunch. I didn't eat until I went home. And if we didn't have anything at home, I didn't eat. Neither did my sister. I was a high school junior. I was almost 5'10". I weighed like 122 pounds. I don't know if that's a lot or if that's a huge number because I feel like everybody around me was really skinny anyways. But what's the point? What's the argument? Why is it so hard to handle? Because people can spend so much money on things that don't matter. I don't go and I don't buy coffee. You can like coffee. You can go spend money on that. You can like shoes and purses and anything. I really don't think that there's that many people going out of their way to go spend hundreds of dollars on purses. I see a commercial a lot of the time, and it's annoying, and I can't get past it because like the only thing that I can afford is free YouTube. Free whatever. I'm not going to pay subscriptions for anything because I don't have it. I don't have that $50 to go blow on shows that I'm not going to sit and watch. I don't have time to watch that I can't stop working to enjoy. I'm just not part of that group, so I wouldn't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is just a lot of people who just go and splurge on everything and that it's normal, but I really don't believe it. Because I worked in merchandising and retail, and the entire time I was there, I get that I'm just living in the same town, working in the same town, and even whenever I go and work in other places, I don't see it. I don't see people going crazy. All I see is people struggling. All I see is somebody with kids showing up with carts of food. And I feel like a good amount of people, just probably the people that I'm talking to that just feel the same way, they have the same mindset, that you're just hoping that you go up to the register and something doesn't go wrong with your cards. And it just sucks being in that place where you're there and you're like, okay, well, what can I do without? And then you go and your dog decides to run out of food, or you run out of toilet paper or laundry soap. I've been cutting everything down as hard as I can. I was working full time. Here's the other thing. To start off. I got a letter saying that I haven't given enough proof to keep me and my husband, who just got over cancer, and my 2 kids under 3, to get them anything. But thank God I'm part of a tribe. I'm part of something that gives me just a little bit. I don't get a lot of money. I don't get land or any promises of anything, but I can go to an Indian clinic if my nose is stuffy. I might have to wait 3 months to go do it. But if I didn't have that, then I'm going to take my kids to the ER for having an upset stomach, and I'm not going to be able to handle it. They started giving me problems last year, even before my second born was 1, and they denied her primary care So I had to take her out of that hospital and go straight to the clinic and hope that they had an opening. And this old lady is so full because every single broke tribal person has to take their kid there. So I struggled to get them into an appointment. It was a lot to go to a health clinic or anything to get her shots and everything. I don't feel like I can go through and argue hard enough. I'm gonna scream until I can't anymore. There's the ability to just live better, for everybody to just not be suffering so much. You could be just barely surviving, and then just one thing takes you out. We were doing okay. We were doing fine. We weren't doing great. We couldn't go and do anything, but we were just surviving. And then it was Christmas, and we couldn't do anything. Even before I was pregnant with my second one, I couldn't afford to get my son a real bed, so he slept on a mattress that we got from a family member on the floor for almost a year. And then I went and I spent a lot more than we had on getting him a little bed. I got him one off of Facebook Marketplace, and that one just broke, and it wouldn't stay together. And his entire Christmas present was just a bed. And a while ago, before this, we would splurge and get him little snacks and everything. Me going crazy isn't me going and buying stuff like makeup, because obviously I have no idea how to use it, or clothes or anything, because you can't do anything but work, and where are you going to wear expensive clothes to work? But we would splurge and we would go get him. I don't even remember the name of the diapers. Millie. It's just the one. It's just Millie something. Mini Moons. Those diapers, just because I'm like, I'm going to go crazy and fall out of control on this one pack of diapers so that my kid can have a comfortable pair of diapers rather than replace some socks that I have or something else. I remember she deserved the purse. I think it went on really fast, because everyone deserves a purse. So the healthcare thing, why do I have to wait until a certain time to enroll in everything? Because even though I go through the entire year, and if I do have it, it can just get dropped, it can get canceled, I can opt out of it and make too much, make too little, miss a payment. So I don't have insurance. My kids are getting kicked off of that insurance because they won't tell me what they're missing. And my husband, who's in remission, does not have insurance, even though the hospital sent out a letter saying that he's still needing ongoing care. He's not really supposed to be working and doing what he does, picking up boxes and throwing pallets around. He had to have major surgery where he lost a kidney, and they were going to put him on dialysis. There's no reason. Why are things like that? Why can't I just get some affordable insurance? And I really don't like to complain about it, because I feel like I'm just saying, we didn't get enough. Nobody helped us out. We didn't get the handouts, blah, blah, blah. That's what I feel like. I feel entitled saying so. But I worked for a big corporation. I worked for a huge money-making machine. I made $14 an hour, and that was them being gracious about giving me a little bit more than $13.25. Where I live, it should not cost over $2,000 to rent. In a perfect world, rent could be less than $1,000 for a freaking 2-bedroom, because there's no jobs here. There are no jobs. There's nothing. I worked trying to do 3 things at once, and it didn't work out, because as soon as he got sick, I started missing everything. I had to drive him every day across the freaking state to go get help. We had to go 5 days on next week, couple days on next week, 5 days on, and then be every set of 5 for 3 weeks. And I had to drive so much. I had this crappy Chrysler. It constantly gave out on us, and it was giving us problems. I get that cars and houses and things are going to break, but it doesn't make, I don't accept that. I get it. I will pay it. I will have everything fixed and dealt with. I'm not going to be happy about that. I just had to pay $1,500 for a new water pump in this car that I just got because my old car decided to blow a head gasket. I had paid $900 before that, earlier in the year, to try and get that fixed. I had the freaking hoses replaced, and I had the pump dealt with and fixed, and then it bursts and overheats, and just, they assume there's a cracked engine, and my car only had 140,000 miles on it. I think it had way less. I'm pretty sure it had in between 128 and 135, but I'm just saying 140. And I think I'm just stupid for just expecting me paying $230 a month to this insurance that they would at least cover a tow. If I have full coverage insurance with the 500 deductible and roadside and that uninsured motorist bullcrap that you charge me extra for, you can't cover a tow. I can't tell you, hey, I'm out of gas somewhere. I've never run out of gas anywhere. I'm so scared to do that. I make damn sure I don't ever go anywhere without a little bit of backup. I lost my card and couldn't get gas, and I was over like 150 miles away from my house. I don't know anybody with a truck. I don't know anybody who can help me out. I can't afford $600 to tow my car back to my house. So I'm sitting there and I'm freaking out because it's the end of the day and the banks are closed and I don't have my wallet, I don't have my ID, I don't have any way to get it, and I'm trying to figure it out. So I send myself direct deposits to go do a cash pickup at the bank nearest to me, but they're closed and it's going to take 3 days to do it. So either I'm going to sit and camp out in my car for 3 days up until I can go pick up this freaking cash that's out of my own bank with my name on it. So I'm looking around and I spent so long trying to figure it out. I had to download apps after apps trying to get the gas thing to work. So I got a freaking Philips app and I'm like, please work. And I had to scratch my freaking brain for the last numbers and everything on it just for it to just take a little bit. And I got that freaking $15 just to be able to barely make it here. So I just need like anybody who is somewhat listening, just get you a freaking gas app. Because if you forget your wallet, you're screwed. I counted everything up. It's nuts. It's crazy. I get it. The doctors need to get paid and the things need to get paid for, the rooms and everything. It's crazy. It's so much. Don't charge me freaking $50 for a Tylenol. Let me go through. Right now, without anything from the last couple months, we're at $9,500 just for last year that we still have to pay, and that's after the year before that we came $13,000 out of pocket to pay for. We walked into the hospital. He said that he wasn't feeling good. He looked at it. We had to pay them full price to get the specialist to look at him. I was calling around that day. Nobody could get anybody to answer him. I spent the entire time. I worked so long, and I was on the phone constantly all day. It was sometime in February. It was probably the 28th or 29th, and the person I called, they said, this is your last. If you can't wait, you can't call us back later because we're closing everything out. So we just barely made it. We barely made it. If I hadn't called and sat there on the phone all day in the car while trying to drive him around, trying to find a doctor that would let him in without all this money up front that we didn't have. The same year, I was hoping to use some of the tax money, some of everything, because we were selling all our furniture and crap. I was hoping to get a little bit of break because I was having a baby. I wanted to spend time with her. I wanted to be around her, but I worked up until I was 37 weeks pregnant, and she didn't come until 41. And so I went back and forth from working in between then, and like 2 weeks before she came, I just told them I couldn't do it anymore, that my feet were hurting, my freaking bones were freaking spread, and it's just too painful to be doing anything. So I took a hit on working from that, so I lost all that pay. And let me just set it up. They have maternity leave for unpaid for 12 weeks. You could qualify for a 6-week partial pay where you only get up to 40% of your normal income. not of what you're promised, what you normally do. So if I missed a week and then it went through, then it would only go through for the 40% of the week before that I had worked. And I started working there when I was 2 months, 2.5 pregnant, and I was promised if I was full-time, if I kept my hours up, if I did 52 weeks of working my ass off, if I just kept going and I got there and I made it past the year mark, I would qualify for that maternity leave. So I worked, and then as soon as she was born, I went back 2 or 3 days later, and I was running around, picking up orders, stocking everything, carrying boxes. I had a baby. I had to drive myself to deliver that baby, and then drive myself back the day after having her to go to work. And I kept working until she was 4 months old, and then I applied for that 6 weeks. I was hoping maybe now I'll get to see my baby. Maybe now I'll be able to hold her. I won't have to wake up at 5 in the morning when she's sleeping and come back when she's taking a nap for have a freaking lunch, and then go back to work and come back and she's already going down for sleep again. I would cry every single day. I would go to the bathroom and I was nursing, I still had to pump. I was so exhausted the entire time. Pumping is so much harder than being pregnant. I was tired constantly. You have to clean everything. You have to make sure that everything stays sanitary. You have to refrigerate everything. And I was embarrassed because pumps just make noise and people just be walking by. I would be sitting in the nursing room that people like to just walk into because they think that it's another bathroom. And that that plug in the outlet did not work. So I had to sit there and as fast as I could, hand pump as much as I could. I was an overproducer. I donated like 2,400 ounces of breast milk after she stopped feeding. Freaking pumping is a full-time job. And I couldn't afford a pump. I had to go to my freaking health department and beg them to give me one. And one of the ladies there, I'm sure, like, you have to go through this whole process of saying, hey, I need this. And she fast-forwarded everything as hard as she could and had me come to the side of the building, and she gave me a little Medela, like, packet. It's like one of this teeny tiny little pump you can plug in. And then I waited till my daughter was 10 months old, and I was still pumping. And that's when Christmas and Black Friday came around, and you get a little voucher. But you know what? They stopped those vouchers because they say that it evens out throughout the year. And I've went through and I've checked all our savings from working there and not getting that voucher and using our discount card. And it's only saved us like $34. So that 20% of me trying to get a pump, trying to get diapers, would have been a whole lot more than $34 if you would have just given it to us. And I tried ordering online. I was searching the cheapest things I could find because nothing was working. The thing that I had from the health department went out. I couldn't go ask for them. I seen that healthcare thing, but I didn't qualify for that either. So I'm stressed because pumping is so much work. It's so hard to do. It's just hard on your body. I'm not saying that it's complicated. There's just so much up here, and there's so much to do around it. And I tried to order something online that came from Walmart Incorporated and use that 20%, but it didn't apply. So instead of buying shoes or underwear or anything else that I would have gotten for myself because I waited all year to do it, and the only time I would ever buy something is whenever it's super marked down. I don't Christmas shop. The day after Christmas shop. I did not buy any presents this year. My kids have what they need. They got everything. They got snacks. They got probably some of those little pies and everything. But I can't afford Christmas. I can't do it. I just can't. There's a lot of... Nobody can do it anymore. Nobody can do it anymore. Everything is too expensive for no reason. If you're making money and you have huge profits and it's going up every year, what is the point of making more if you're already making so much more than you did the year before and the year before that? There's no reason for you to say that your thing is worth more when you made fine amount of money, a whole lot of money, What are you gonna do? You gonna put a freaking building in every single town and bleed everybody dry? You think that just raising everything is going to make anything better? You think taking away stickers and price tags is going to make me want to buy anything? I would walk around clothing sections and look at something and be like, oh wow, $14. That's way too much. I remember there being this pink spaghetti dress. I couldn't afford it. It was $17. I'd never wear it. I can't waste money on something like that, even though I really wanted it. I looked at it and I longed for this stupid dress that I just couldn't have. I went home and I tried to make it. I got all this junk. I happened to get this from a thrift store for like $5. All of this crap down here because she just wanted it out of her store. So anytime I'm like, I wish I had something, I try to make it on my own and I fail. But I still enjoy making stuff. But I can't afford to do that. I can't afford to have a hobby. I can't afford to freaking live right now. I've worked myself bone dry. Like a dog, day and night. I just got tired of it. And I've given up. I've been high functioning and stressed and just angry the entire time. I'm a level-headed person, but I can notice whenever some things don't add up. I've gone through and I counted out, and I had spent in 1 year $67,000 on heat, on water. We don't even use that much water. I wait until after 7 p.m. to wash my clothes or dishes because it costs less. On freaking gas and on the freaking mortgage and insurance. And my car decided to crap out one payment before I was done paying it off. I had been waiting all year because that extra $420 would have freaking pushed us a little bit further. I feel like I probably would have been able to buy some freaking work shoes if I didn't have to spend all this money on a car. And then my car dies on me and I have to put down everything I have just to get another car so that we can work still. We're working so long and so hard to get something so that we can keep working long and hard. And these things aren't going to last. I know it's not going to last. I know this car's not going to be perfect. And maybe I don't know how to take care of everything as well as I should. But we changed the oil. We deal with the tires. We deal with the brakes. We really needed rotors on that car, but I couldn't afford $450 to get them replaced at the same time as the freaking $450 brakes because I cannot do it myself. I have to take it to get the computer dealt with at the same time as doing the brakes. So all that labor work, just let me do it myself. Let me freaking crush myself with a car so that I don't have to go and freaking take out a loan to get my workhorse dealt with. We live a walkable distance from where we have to work, where I had to work. But I need a car because what if I gotta go to the hospital? What if my kids have to go to the hospital? What if I need to go get food? What if I need to live out of my car? I've thought about it a lot and I'm like, well, I'm not too good for an RV. You know what? I can't afford an RV. I couldn't even do it if I happened to get out of this house. This house is drowning us. I hate this house. I'm just hoping and praying if I keep it clean every single day, somebody else with a job, with a good job, who somehow has mommy and daddy money comes in and takes it. I will hand it over for free if I don't have to put anything else out of pocket. If you're freaking looking for a house, stop buying from builders. Because I knew that I didn't want to get into these houses. I knew I didn't want builder grade. I wanted an older house. I got qualified for an older house that was over $100,000 less than this house. Pretty much the same size. This one was just built in 2023 and the other house was built in the 70s. I wanted the other house. I had my heart set on it. We had money sunken into it and inspections and appraisals and everything. We had the title paid. We had down payments for everything. We fished out all our money that we had. We had the freaking money that we needed to have left over in the bank for us to qualify for the loan in the first place. And this James Malloy calls us, and this is a little California man. He's probably fucking loaded. He's probably got tons of freaking stonks and banks and bullcrap. He probably got cars on cars on cars on houses on freaking lots, and he's probably part of the freaking BlackRock and bullcrap that just owns everything. They're just greedy. And he calls us. He doesn't even call me. He calls my husband. I'm the one who's been giving out all the information and everything. My husband doesn't know what we're going through, how far everything is. He just knows we don't have a home right now, but we qualify and we already paid for this one that we're supposed to be getting. We are supposed to have gotten on the 29th, and now it's like the 20th of the next month. And then he calls me and says, we're revoking your loan. We're not going through with this. Even after I paid everything, they had my money sitting in their bank, in their freaking accounts. And they decided to deny us for it because I had taken maternity leave for 2 months for my firstborn. We qualified for everything. The payment was $1,150. The entire house, we would have gotten it for $147,000. And we had everything to pay it. We put down 5%. We worked our butts off. I couldn't work fast enough to get that money, so I had to start door dashing, and we got $4 at a time just so that we can have it on us instead of having to wait 2 weeks ahead. I worked managing a freaking restaurant, and he worked on cars. We should be doing good. If you're in charge of a freaking business, keep on going, and they're relying on you to hold it up, to keep their money, to make sure your employees aren't stealing things, to keep things balanced, keep the store going, to keep everything clean and people happy. Why am I not able to afford this freaking $1,200 month house? And I'm not even on my own. I have another person to help me out. I'm not upset at the realtor lady because she did her job. The lender just screwed us over. The lender ruined our life. And I really should have gone through and put a complaint in, because there's like a 1 year or a 2 year time which you can file discrimination on it. But everyone told us it was a lost cause. I went through and I talked to other lenders, and they're like, well, I don't know. And no one can give us a straight answer. And we couldn't even apply with our own bank because the pool from having to get us qualified for the other house put us 2 points underneath qualifying for our bank, even though we both banked there for like, he's been there 10 years, I've been there 4 years, 6 years. We should have gotten into that house. My car, perfect world. We got that house, we got that car, not blowing up on us, we paid it off, and somehow we're floating off of freaking $1,600 of needing to pay bills and everything a month. But no, everything costs so much. So now I have to do, I don't have the babysitter, I don't have the time, we can't swap it fast enough, because he had to be there when I had to be gone. So he'd be jumping out of the car at the same time I'm jumping in and having to freaking fly back to the house. So I have to work and pick up every job that I can, and I have to do as many deliveries, I have to do as many signs. We sold off so much of our own stuff. I had to get rid of my Wii, I had to get rid of sentimental things, I had to sell any jewelry that I had, which was not like a lot. It was like $20 worth. I had to get rid of a whole lot of games. I had to get rid of a lot of stuff. A bed, a couch, a couple chairs, a lot of chairs, a few dressers. We had some nightstands, just anything. I'd be walking around the house looking at us like, what's going to help us survive? And I'd pick it up and take it to the garage, take pictures of it, and sell it for $30. That's what got us through, because we had to get rid of everything. I had to get rid of everything. And why? Everyone just needs to get mad. Just get mad. Because there's no way that there's more people that think that things are perfect than there is people who are actually living and struggling. We're not living to live. We're freaking struggling to survive. We're barely here. I'm going to tell you, the entire time, for over a year, the only thing that we lived off of was Great Value pancake mix. So we had that. And then I would get a bag of potatoes. I'd boil the potatoes, put as much water as I can fit in a pot with that potatoes, put in a little bit of butter, probably a chicken bouillon cube, and a little bit of whipping cream, and we'd have potato soup. That's what we lived off of. And we never splurged on anything. We couldn't afford it. I'm gonna keep on bringing it up, because I had this pair of work shoes, and I ran through them so fast. The tongue was flopping. There was a hole all along the side of my freaking heels on both sides, and also this stupid knuckle part just worn down. My shoes were falling apart. I was gluing them together daily. And I couldn't afford it. At some point, those freaking shoes were $7, and I was like, thank God I can get me some shoes. And so I went and I bought the same exact pair of shoes, but just newer, and they were on clearance. So I replaced my old gray and blue shoes with another pair of gray and then blue shoes, and then I worked in that for another year. I still have the pair of shoes. Somehow they survived. It's been another year and a half, and I'm still using the same pair of shoes. I'm going to use them until they turn into dust. But it's crazy. If somebody's sick, why is there nothing to help them? Why does it feel like there's nothing? Because I would be searching around, and there's nothing we can do. I went to, what's it called? I went to I can't even remember the name. I went to Red Cross. I'm not even sure what they're called. I went to everybody. And I went to the community people, and I went to some churches and stuff. I went to my tribe, and I was begging for help everywhere. I was asking people to buy everything I own, and I was pulling money out of checks that I didn't have yet, and I'm just trying to survive. I'm trying to pay all the deposits, all of the co-payments that are needed before they'll go in and check on them. Because if I didn't call that day and happened to get that insurance, no hospital would have took him. And the doctor said that if we didn't get him in and get the tumor taken out, that he would have died that year. We got lucky then. But it was really obvious that he wasn't feeling good, that things weren't right, but nobody would do anything. That's not how things are supposed to be. If somebody is hurting, you're supposed to help them. And I'm going to be angry about it. I'm going to be angry because I'm scared to take my kids places. I do not go alone. I never go without my husband or without a family member. I won't take them by myself anywhere. I won't go outside in my backyard because I feel like somebody will see me and see me as a target. I don't feel safe here. It's crazy. Now I think that I'm going to go outside and get in my car and get shot through my window. Just because you probably look different. Just because you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Just because somebody's on a power trip. Nothing gives you the right to decide on your own. You don't take a mom away from her kid. You don't take a kid's only parent. And you don't smile about it, and you don't laugh, and you don't get to enjoy yourself. I don't know the person, but I'm pissed. I'm so mad for her, and I'm so sad for her kid. I'm sad for her family. I can't say similar, and I can't say that I was really close, but somebody else, one of my nephews, lost their dad because somebody was driving too fast. There's no reason somebody should be reckless or stupid or hateful enough to make some little kid not have a parent anymore. They should be here. They shouldn't be sitting cold in the ground, missing their kid growing up. I still feel like I could go over there and wish hard enough that this person wasn't gone, that somehow this kid will get their parent back. I still believe that so hard, that this is so unfair, that somehow things can't just be this wrong, that it can get turned back around, and somehow I'm just wrong about everything. Maybe it's a dream. Maybe this didn't really happen. I don't believe it. And it should never have happened. It shouldn't happen to anybody. There shouldn't be anybody losing their sons or daughters. I'm scared to send my kids to school. I'm scared to go to the store. I don't feel like I can trust anybody. I've turned to people for help, and I've been denied by every person that I thought that I could trust. I don't feel safe here anymore. I'm sure that everybody who's in that spot didn't feel safe then, or probably before. There's no reason it should be like this. There's no reason. It should not be a problem that I'm going to send my kid somewhere where there should only be a few adults at a time in a classroom and a whole lot of other kids. I worry for everybody else's kids. I've worried for them my whole life. I was a kid and I was worried about it too. I remember going outside once and sitting in the playground, and some person in a red truck pulled up and started trying to talk to me and my friend and started trying to get me to come outside the gate. And it shut the entire school down. There's no reason. Why are people sick? Why isn't there an excuse? Why are all the excuses being given afterwards? My kids should be safe. My family should be safe. I should be safe. There's no reason. I do not have anything against my neighbor or my neighbor's neighbor or anybody or my freaking neighbor's dog. I don't have anything against them where I would go psycho and just decide that they don't deserve to be here anymore. That mom should be with her baby. I don't know her. I never knew her. I've never been there, and I don't know anyone around her. But she deserved to watch her kid grow up. I don't care if she was lazy or if she was crazy or if she was hateful towards people who were actually there. And I feel like I'm just too scared to say something. Everyone's too scared to say something. Everybody feels like they're a target. It's really hard to just... You can't relax. No matter where I go, I'm going to have cameras up everywhere. I don't trust anyone. And it shouldn't be like that. And I wish that I could just run away and find somewhere else where people are nice and you can walk around and food doesn't make you fat just for looking at it. But everybody has their problems and everything. I'm not going to say that it's perfect elsewhere. I'm just saying, what is keeping it from being better? Why is it so hard? Because it's been going on. You have somebody working your job and they're not doing what they're supposed to do, and you're like, man, this job kind of isn't necessary anymore. I'm gonna have this entire typewriter repair store. I'm gonna have a VHS repair store or something. I'm gonna fix dinosaur shoes or some bullcrap. You're not gonna sit there and be like, yeah, I still need it because it's been here so long. There's no reason. I don't know you. I don't care what you think. You should think. Everyone deserves to not be hungry. Everyone deserves to be cared about, and everybody deserves to be safe. I don't have the ability to change a lot. I can't afford it. If I had a lot of money, I'd have cheap houses everywhere for somebody who needs it. I don't think I would ever have a whole lot of money. There's no reason to be hoarding everything. You can be comfortable. You don't have to make yourself struggle to help somebody else, but there's no reason for somebody to be excessively wasteful, hateful. There's no reason that you're just supposed to be trying to squeeze everybody underneath you. There is no good way to get that far ahead. There is no good way. Don't send your religion behind it or your politics or anything. If you see somebody who's hurting, if you see somebody who needs help, you're supposed to help them out. You're not supposed to sit there and wait for them to go out so that you can get a little bit of whatever's there. You're like, well, less for them to spread out, more for me, I guess. There's no reason. And I thought about it. I'm like, well, maybe I'm a little crazy. And even before I had kids, I'm like, maybe I'll go into everything. But you know what? I might just get shot for looking the wrong way. But it doesn't make sense. Nothing makes sense anymore. Nothing's ever made sense. As soon as I turned into an adult, everything got worse. It could be bad for everybody who before I was an adult had it. I heard of like 2008 and everything, but you still had a roof. It's crazy. And somehow you gotten better out of that. If you're not still struggling, then you're better. Because I feel like the entire time, everything's just been getting worse. And I'm just the bearer of bad news, and I'm just going to state the obvious and everything. Things are too expensive. I can't afford anything right now. It's just crazy. It's crazy. What happened to seeing if an animal hoards everything, that you'd study what's wrong with it? There's no reason. Because that could have been anybody, and I'm always scared that it's going to be me or somebody I know. I don't want it to happen to people I don't know either. I don't know you, and I wish the best for you. I won't ever wish bad on somebody. There's a few people who've done really bad towards me. There's a lot that I wish that people would take responsibility for, but I'm not going to wish bad on you. This person was hateful and abusive and physical, and even whenever they got hurt, maybe I was just dumb, but I felt bad for them, and I wanted to help them, even though I was still spiteful and mad. But there's no reason people should be scared. There's no reason that a little kid should be worried. I'm gonna go off of personal experience again. I never had anybody I felt like I was safe talking to. There was never a time when I was confident that an adult would take up for me, that they would believe anything that I had to say. And I grew up the entire time thinking I'm gonna try so hard to be somebody in a place where anybody who needs my help would be able to tell me, where I would be able to read the signs. Because I was quiet, I did everything right, I never caused any trouble, and nobody noticed it because I didn't. I'm not a squeaky wheel. I'm squeaking right now because things are just unfair, and I'm just so worried that it's gonna get worse. I don't feel like anybody believes it. Nobody wants to believe it. Everything is too big. And I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but I just don't trust anybody. And I just wish there's no reason. What is your deal? You're gonna get more money? You're gonna do more? Do you not have enough? Is it not enough? Well, that sucks. Gluttons a sin. If you're so religious. When's it gonna be enough? I've had it. I'm sick. If it was just me, I'd be out there with signs. But it's not. I'm worried about if I do anything, it'll come back on somebody. And I feel like I have no effect. Just anything. I feel like this is just gonna sit on my phone. I'm never gonna put it up. And I can just say whatever right now. Because everything's just gonna get crazier. There has to be more sane people than there is everyone who defends people who cause harm. Renee Nicole Good deserved to have her family. She deserved to be able to get away from them. I didn't know her, but she deserved to be here. There's no reason for somebody to decide otherwise. There's no reason. You can't defend it. You can't say that maybe she was crazy. Maybe she would. If I was there, I probably would have tried to run someone over. Because you're supposed to be in best interest of yourself. You're in a car and somebody comes after you, you're supposed to lock the doors and haul ass. You're supposed to try to get out of there. You're never supposed to try to go to the second location. You're not supposed to let them get the upper hand. You're not trying to fight back. You're just trying to get away. It shouldn't be like that. I'm looking over my shoulder constantly. Things just shouldn't be like this.